Rebecca, tell us all about the unveiling of the statue itself.
Hi, Joe. Yes, well, there were just 13 people there, led by William and Harry at 2 p.m. in the sunken garden yesterday at Kensington Palace. There were no members of the public, no charities, very few media, not even a live stream of the event as we'd normally expect. So people were absolutely agog to see what this statue looked like after it being so long in the making.
Yes, indeed, and there has been so much speculation about what this statue might look like. And in the end, I'd say they've played it pretty safe. It looks like Princess Diana, right? What's been the response?
Well, it's been quite a mixed response, actually. I mean, our critic in the Daily Mail quite liked it. I mean, I think he acknowledged that, you know, Diana was one of the most beautiful and iconic women of the 20th century. And there was something quite kind of undefinable about what made her so attractive. So I can imagine that's quite difficult to capture in, you know, that vivacity in some kind of piece of cold hard metal, really. But our critic liked it. The Times, however, gave it an absolute pasting. They described it as horrible and sentimental. So I think you kind of pays your money, you takes your choice. But I would say I was very lucky. I managed to get a quick sneak preview of it after the ceremony, but before it opened to the public today. And I have to say, in the flesh, I thought it was all right. I mean, maybe, dare I say, a little bit masculine, but it was kind of quite a strong, powerful, confident Diana. And the fact is, William and Harry are happy with it. So I think that's what matters, doesn't it?
I like you saying, I think it was all right, the highest praise indeed. So there was a... But
yeah. Joe, what do I know about art? Let's face it.
Well,
so
I mean...
that literally is going to be the extent of my abilities and my art critique.
I love, though, that, you know, you've had an exclusive little sneak peek when the event itself to unveil it was much smaller than any of us were expecting, even with COVID restrictions in place. So who made the cut? And I understand that some people who even helped fund the statue weren't even invited.
Absolutely. So there were just 13 people there. William and Harry, Diana's surviving family, which is obviously her brother and her two siblings, her best friend, Julia Samuel, was there, who was also actually on the organising committee, and a handful of people who are involved in kind of executing the whole thing. The sculptor, the head gardener, Historic Royal Palaces, the charity that's responsible for the garden. It was very, very, very small. And obviously great spin was put on this is because of COVID, but, you know, we all know the truth of it is, and no one wanted massive scrutiny of the brothers and, you know, how they were together. So, you know, it was very small and pared down. I think some of Diana's friends expressed, you know, a bit of disappointment they weren't there. But actually, it was quite intimate and quite charming for that at the same time, I think.
Now, you did touch on this thing that we've been speculating on for months about the dynamic between Princes William and Harry. Now, am I wrong? Am I overthinking it to feel that I felt it was a little bit tense and awkward and cordial, but in a very perfunctory way?
I think that's spot on, Joe, to be honest. I mean, obviously, I must stress I wasn't there like most of the British media, but I was given access to every single second of footage afterwards. And as you can imagine, I've been through that with a fine-tooth comb. And there is no doubt that while I think they rightly did what was required of them, they were, as you say, they were cordial. When you actually looked at the kind of minutes of their interaction, it was actually fairly few and far between, and it was very much centered around the statue and the gardens and doesn't this look nice and isn't it amazing. But I'm not sure what else we could have expected of them, really, given everything that's happened over the last 18 months.
Thank you very much for that insight, Rebecca. Well, this event has, of course, taken on an even bigger significance since the increasingly public fallout between Diana's sons, Princes William and Harry. This week, joining me and the Mail's diary editor Richard Eden, we have a leading expert on the Prince's fallout, historian and biographer Robert Lacey, who has recently written an updated edition of his book, Battle of Brothers. Here it is. A little bit more on that later. Robert, welcome. Tell us what you thought of the Diana statue.
I thought it was great. I went down there this morning. Here we are in
Kensington. So more than all right.
I thought, you know, I'm coming down to Kensington, let's go and look at it. And here's the news, it's incredibly easy to look at. I mean, whatever you think of it, and I think Richard and I are going to disagree creatively on this, you just walk up, you don't have to pay anything. You go up past the round pond, you walk in, At the moment, there's a small queue. I reckon in the weeks to come, it's going to get lengthened. And then you walk all the way round the sunken garden at your own speed. There's a box hedge all the way around it with these rather lovely little windows. And you can look through at the statue from different angles. I was moved by it. You get to see the garden at your own pace. And I also slightly disagreed with Rebecca there. I thought that, I think we were wrong if we were looking yesterday for signs of rapprochement between those brothers, because that wasn't the purpose of the meeting, I thought. The gathering showed great judgment. The fact it wasn't a great party or jamboree actually meant we focused on the brothers. And I think the time they spent together as a couple of royal professionals doing a royal professional job where the focus was on their mother and not on a sort of Oprah-style reconciliation, I thought they got the tone exactly right.
Just back to the statue for a minute. Richard, was it what you were expecting?
It was a bit what I was worried about beforehand. We always, I think I've said in this programme before, how difficult it is to portray beautiful people. It really is difficult. We've seen that with that portrait of the Duchess of Cambridge, which I'm afraid didn't do her justice at all. Unlike Robert, I haven't had the privilege yet of seeing it live, but from the images I've seen, I would say, I'm afraid I just didn't think it was very good at all.
Oh, wow.
I thought she looked very manly, and to me she looked remarkably like the actor Sean Bean, I thought.
Oh my God! I just want to apologise to the sculptor and the princess right now, because I don't think we will ever hear a worse insult.
No, Sean Bean's a very handsome man, but it's
not such a pretty lady.
It didn't quite capture Diana, and I thought it was a bit of a cop-out to have the children as well. It sort of almost made it beyond criticism by having some sweet children around her.
But I mean, it had to have a message, didn't it? So what else are you going to have? You're going to have a mine detector, or I mean, just to stand there in ermine robes or something.
Why not? It's good enough for all the manly statues we see around the place.
Well, I mean, this statue's got to live on after Harry and William and their feuds are long forgotten, and it's got to actually. Let's not forget either. What's the fourth memorial to Diana? There's the walk, the playground, the fountain. They've done pretty well, those boys. I mean, that's the other thing I thought about the occasion. This represents their campaign to insert their mother into the iconography of the British royal family.
Yeah.
And if 25 years ago you'd have said there's a great statue in Kensington Palace and all these other memorials to Diana, people would have laughed. Now, those brothers did that. The Queen didn't do it, did she? Prince Charles didn't do it.
Well, it's interesting you say that, though, because with everything going on, the great subject of your book, you would wonder if the palace might have wanted to delay this unveiling even further, but it's probably not really possible, is it?
And it's interesting palace politics. I mean, Buckingham Palace's writ doesn't really run in Kensington Palace. I mean, that is now effectively run by William, as we saw when he kicked Harry out. I mean, he didn't like Meghan's behaviour in his joint household. That used to be Diana's preserve. It's now William's preserve. And I think the iconography he's raising to his mother with Harry is fascinating. And also, of course, it represents a Spencer takeover. I mean, there wasn't a single member of the House of Windsor there yesterday.
And why do we think that is?
It was, I think it was a conscious effort to make it a small, sort of private family occasion. I mean, just compare it with the unveiling of the statue of the Queen Mother. And that was such a huge occasion. It was live on television.
Well, I guess there was no pandemic for one.
Yeah, we had the Queen, we had crowds watching, and it was a completely different event. But if the Queen had gone to this, then other members of the royal family would have had to go too.
But why would Prince William not even have the Duchess of Cambridge there?
I thought that was that really was fascinating. I mean, she's probably sort of hiding away inside the palace. But I do think it was pressure from Prince Harry. I think that it would have drawn attention to the absence of Meghan and would have then led to more questions. And they wanted that symmetry of just having the sons and no one else.
But I like to see a royal outfit, you see.
No, it's so sad. Remember, before he met Meghan, Kate would have been there on every occasion. There would have been the joking, the larking around, and there wasn't any of that.
That's an interesting question. I mean, does it represent pressure from Prince Harry, or does it represent thought on William's part not to overload the balance? since Meghan wasn't going to be there? Was it Harry who said, I don't want Catherine there, or was it William who thoughtfully said, well, all right, we'll do it as a couple of brothers? And that, after all, was the function of the occasion.
Do you have any intel on that so
no,
far?
I've got nothing inside on that.
Yeah.
I got the strong impression that William was sort of going through with being back with his brother through gritted teeth. I mean, from everything I saw, he never once looked Harry in the eye.
I noticed that, and so you say we're reading into it, but
Well, no, I'm not disagreeing with Richard for a second, but I think, and we've got to get used to this for the future, that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, the sort of expectation they're going to hug in front of their mother devalued the situation. I mean, I thought it was a very professional performance.
But do you think, given how bad we know things have been, has this unveiling yesterday improved it any iota?
Oh, I think it has, but I think it's reminded us of the reality. Harry's chosen a different course. I happen to think it's the right course. I mean, he's the first spare to get it right. Just get the hell out of there and create your own life. And he's doing that. And now the family's got to adjust to it.
One thing that no one's really picked up on is the level of coordination between the brothers, because you might have noticed they were both wearing navy suits. And now Harry's never been...
That's just what all royal men did.
No, Prince Harry has been stuck to his grey suit ever since he met Meghan. I think she suggested you look best in grey, and he's always worn it. But on this occasion, he wore navy, and that was Diana's favourite suit for a man, was always navy. If you look at Prince Charles at her funeral, he didn't wear black, he wore a navy suit, and that's because Diana liked him best in navy. So there was definitely significance in that, I think.
What do you think the future holds for these two, Robert? If you've got William apparently, allegedly calling Meghan that bloody woman, no matter what peace they come to, they're not going to be holidaying together anytime soon, are they?
No, but does it matter? I mean, the royal family is a representational family.
It would matter to Diana, wouldn't it?
Well, yes and no. I mean, if they can treat each other with civility, and I thought a certain humour, in the presence of their mother. I mean, lots of people say, what would Diana make of it if she was around? Well, she was around yesterday afternoon, and physically there and in their hearts and minds, and I thought that was reflected in their behaviour. And I think we've all got to grow up and accept the fact that they are going to stay separate. I mean, it happens in every family. I mean, well, not in many families. You marry, you go off for your new partner, different life. There may or may not be personal disagreements. And the sort of cosy old House of Windsor, I think, has got to get used to it.
And I guess this country has such a maternal sense over the both of them. I think that's why people care, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, but I would say that those years when we saw William and Kate and Harry happily tagging along as the number 3, those are the odd years. And the sensible years are when he's got a partner. Whatever we think of her and them, they've created their new life, and that's the reality that the royal family's got to live with. And I think it's a good thing. I mean, the problem when they were both there, this town was too small for both of them, and so Harry's actually ceded the stage.
I mean, let's hope this statue, stands the test of time, because statues have become such a thorny issue, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
my goodness,
the belt is already out of kilter with the test of time. But Robert and I disagree on that. But
You're talking about the big belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even today, we've seen statues being ripped down in Canada of our Queen and of Queen Victoria. So, this sort of thing, it's, and we've seen at Oxford, I think they were pulling down a portrait of the Queen.
Yeah.
I'd like to get on my high horse briefly about this. In both cases, the Queen, our present Queen, is seen as a symbol of colonialism by these foreigners. They don't realise that, 48 countries of the United Nations now, full members, were colonies at the beginning of this Queen's reign, and she presided over their emergence to independence. That's what this Queen stands for, and this reign, the end of empire. But, people who don't know enough history don't understand that.
That's all we have for you on our YouTube show. But to see the rest of this episode, including some more fascinating royal revelations, head to www.mailplus.co.uk/royals or click the link on screen now.